Hey, Miss Marion here. We are doing Unit 4, Lesson 14. Go ahead and turn to page 193 and read the ICAD statement. I can find missing information about a cylinder if I know its volume and some other information. So go ahead and write yourself a sentence how you feel and a number. So 1, I don't remember. 2, I kind of remember it. 3, I do remember. And 4, I can teach it to my friend. All right, let's go ahead and turn to page 121, and we are going to look at a cylinder and said, what is the possible volume for this cylinder if the diameter is 8? And you need to go ahead and explain your reasoning and kind of go from there. So go ahead and pause, answer that question, and then go ahead and come back to me. All right, let's go ahead and go through this. So if our diameter is 8, that means my radius is going to be 4. Remember, the radius is half of the diameter. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. And remember how we do our volume is the area of the base multiplied by the height. Right now, let's just go ahead and look at the area of a base. So our base is the circle. And so area of the circle is pi radius squared times height. Let's put in our radius. So right now we have pi 4 squared multiplied by height. So 4 squared, so 4 times 4 is 16. And then we have pi, like multiplied by pi, and then multiplied by height itself. So what could be the volume of the cylinder? Well, we could put any measurement for h. We could stick in 1, and it will be 16 times 1 is 16. And so the volume would be 16 pi. Then we could put in 2. And so we have 16 times 2, which is 32, and it would be 32 pi. So it will be multiples of 16 pi multiplied by a number, and depending on how high that cylinder is going to be, will make it so that would actually be the volume of this. And of course, our units is going to be centimeters cubed, or the cube of centimeters. So I usually do centimeters cubed, but again, it's going to be any multiple of 16 pi centimeters cubed for the volume for this cylinder. All right, let's look at page 121 through 122, and we are going to be given some information, and we're going to be kind of finding some other stuff. So remember, our volume is pi times radius squared times height. That is for a cylinder because it's the area of the base multiplied by the height. And they say that our area, we have 50 pi is our area, and then our radius is 5, so we have 5 squared pi, and then we're trying to figure out this height. What would that height be? So what would be the height, and explain how you know. So go ahead and pause for a second, answer that question, and please write down how you explain how you know, because we're going to be actually using this today and then also for the next couple of days. So pause, answer that question, and then come back to me. So let's look at the 5 squared. What is 5 squared? Well, that's 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25 pi. We still have multiplied by 8. And our final answer would be 50 pi. So really what we're looking at is what number multiplied by 25 makes 50. Or 50 divided by 25 is 2. So our height is 2 units. All right, let's look at number 2. So we're going to kind of do it a little bit differently. Our volumes, or our volume equation is volume equals pi times radius squared times height. Our volume for this cylinder that we have is 36 pi. Our height is 4. Now we're looking for the radius, and so we kind of have to think about that and how would we find that and what would we actually go ahead and do. So go ahead and pause, answer that question, and then come back to me. All right, this is going to take a little bit longer. So let's look at, we have 36 pi, r squared, pi, and then 4. So what I notice is that there are pi on both sides of the equation. So remember when we had those hangers, we can go ahead and push on and take off. Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take off the pi because we have pi for both sides. Now we have 36 radius squared times 4. So really what we want is we want the radius squared by itself. Well, how would I go ahead and get rid of that radius squared? It's radius squared times 4. So what is the opposite of multiplication? Well, that's division. So we're going to divide by 4 on both sides. So what is 36 divided by 4? Well, that's 9. Now we have 9 squared equals our radius, 9 equals our radius squared. So remember, what number multiplied by itself makes 9? What number is that? Oh, that's 3. So we have our radius is going to be 3 units will equal our radius. So let's look at page 123. We have this huge table. And what we're going to do is, if you look at it, we have a diameter, we have a radius, the area of the base, height, and then a volume of a cube. So you're given pieces of information and you're going to be asked to go ahead and fill in the rest. This is going to take some time. You are going to go ahead and need to pause this video while you're going through this. And again, you need to know this. This, I believe, is going to show up on our WISBA next week. So make sure you understand how to get these, not just write them down, but make sure you understand and know where these things came from. What we're going to do is we're going to actually go ahead and go through this one right here. So we know that our volume, so I'm going to write this kind of above. We know that our equation is volume equals pi times radius squared times height. So let's go ahead and let's put in what we know. And so again, we're working at this one here. So we know we have 16 pi equals pi times, and then we're only given the height. So we have this radius squared times 100. So remember, we need to go ahead and get the radius squared by itself. And so we can take the pi's off from both sides, right? And then let's go ahead and let's divide by 100 on both sides. And I'm going to leave this as a fraction because I think personally it just makes a little bit more sense. So let's go ahead and do 16 over 100, simplify it down, and I'm going to get 4 over 25 equals our radius squared. The reason why I wanted to go ahead and do this is I'm going to look at each question, each number individually. What number multiplied by itself makes 4? Well, I know that number is 2. What number multiplied by itself makes 25? Well, I know that that number is 5. So then my radius is going to be 2 over 5. Then I need to go, which we can also say if we do 2 divided by 5, it's also known as, we can say or 0.4. And then our diameter is going to be 0.4 times plus 0.4, so 0.8. Or if we add 2/5 plus 2/5, we're going to get 4/5. Okay? And then let's go ahead and find the area of the base. Remember, that's going to be 2/5 squared. So put it in your calculator, 2/5 squared. That is going to be 4 over 25 pi. We can also write it as 4 divided by 25, which is 0.16 pi. Okay, so make sure you go ahead and write those down. Notice how we kind of put it in the equation, and we did what we just barely did the pages before. So if you need some help, go ahead and look at page 121 and 122. We've already done these kind of things. So go ahead and write down these answers, and then you're going to go ahead and pause and fill in the rest of them using that volume. So you probably might need another piece of paper to go ahead and do this on. So go ahead and pause. Make sure you understand and know how to do this because it's going to be on our WISBA next week. Okay, so go ahead and make sure you understand it. Pause, do that, and then come back. All right, here are all the answers that you can come up with, so you can go ahead and check yourself. I would actually pause this right now, check and make sure that you have the same numbers. If you don't have them, go back and figure those out. And if you have a question, you can go ahead and email me, but make sure you understand how to go ahead and get all of these. Again, we're having WISBA next week, so it's a unit test, right? So make sure you understand all of that. So the main thing we need to go ahead and understand and remember over and over and over again that our volume, to be able to find our volume, it is pi times radius squared times height, or it is also the area of the base times height is our volume. So make sure we understand and know how to do these. Make sure we know where all that kind of information comes from and how to use it. So let's go ahead and go back to page 192. Let's read our I can statement. I can find missing information about a cylinder if I know its volume and some other information. So we're going to use that formula that we have. Go ahead and give yourself a sentence, how you feel about that. Give yourself a number. So 1, I'm still confused. 2, I kind of got it. 3, I did get it. And 4, I can teach it to my friend. Make sure you go ahead and do the practice problems for today. And if you have any questions, please email me.